Bien, muy buenas noches. Bienvenidos a la semana número 5 de nuestra materia Structure of English. Vamos a ver cuáles son las actividades que tenemos preparadas para esta quinta semana de clase. Structure of English. That's the name of our subject. What's the main objective of it? It is explain the difference among modality, context, and speech acts, and imperative and directive sentences. So the main point that we will be working is the one that is related to imperative and directive sentences. You will see more details along the speech, along my speech. So direct imperative and directives. That's the most important point of for assignment number 5. Ok. Mm, Aquí les voy a presentar una definición sobre lo que son imperatives y algunos ejemplos. Por ejemplo, tenemos que imperatives is defined as imperatives are a specific verb mood used to express command or instructions. Estas son las que comúnmente conocemos, son las instrucciones, tales como run faster, stop talking, listen carefully, clean your room, finish your homework. Estas son formas imperativas que regularmente conocemos. Sin embargo, existen otras llamadas directives, las cuales sugieren una forma imperativa, pero no presentan la misma característica que presentan estas formas imperativas. Por ejemplo, la principal característica que presentan las formas imperativas es que mantienen un verbo al comienzo de cada una de la oración, indicando el orden, la orden que se tenga que dar. Por ejemplo, en este caso, en la oración número 1, run, stop. For number 2, listen, clean, and finish. All these sentences will begin with an imperative verb. Okay. And another important information about imperative is this one. They typically consist of the base verb without to. Fíjense que aquí tenemos estas oraciones without to. No existe. Si existiese el to, ya no sería una forma imperativa. To run simplemente estaría indicando, o to stop, to listen, to clean, or to finish, solamente me estaría indicando que el verbo está, no está en su forma imperativa, sino que no está conjugado. To run, to stop, to listen. Bien. And can be positive, close the door, or negative, don't talk. Aquí tienen otro ejemplo, un ejemplo de cómo sería una forma imperativa negativa, don't talk. Y bueno, otra característica que tienen es que imperatives are a direct way to tell someone to do something or for giving commands. Bien, esto es con respecto a los imperativos. Ya van a ver otra información relacionada con los imperatives. Entonces, bueno, imperative mood clauses can be positive or negative. Ya habíamos visto anteriormente en esta lámina que estos son positive imperative, mientras que los que van a ver acá son negative imperative. And as an information, you have this one. Negative imperative clauses are formed by adding the word do not or don't before the verb. For example, don't run or do not run. If you want to be more emphatic, you either made that contraction, you use do not. Do not run, please, for example. Stop talking. Well, this is in a certain way, this is a negative form because it's telling the other person to not to do a specific action. In this case, not to talk. Don't listen to him or do not listen to him. That would be a negative imperative with the contraction or not. And you have some other examples like don't clean your room, don't finish your homework. Okay, now let's talk about directives. That's another way of making comments or instructions. So imperatives are specific verb mood, use to express command or instructions. But you already know which are the main characteristics of this imperative, this one, right? Remember, you can have the negative or positive, like the ones here that I was talking before. And so it can be negative imperative or positive imperative. But then you have directives. Directives have a broader purpose and may aim to guide, influence, or persuade someone to take a specific action or consider a particular viewpoint. So you can see here that when you are using directive forms, you are telling the person, you are making a request, you're offering an advice, and you're telling the other person to do something, but not with an imperative, not with a direct command, like this one. Here you have an example of the difference between imperative and directive. Here you have an imperative form which says direct. It says a direct command. It says clean your room. But yeah, you can say it in another way, and you use the directive form. It's a request in this case. Would you mind cleaning your room? Here you need um, sorry, a question mark here at the end. It's missing one. So would you mind cleaning your room? In this case, this is a directive request. It's a request, but it is not an imperative form because it doesn't have a verb at the beginning of the sentence. For instance, this one, you have clean your room. Clean is an imperative verb, but here, in this this phrase is telling the other person to do something, to clean the room, but in a direct way, uh, through a request. Would you mind cleaning your room? Here you have some other examples of directives like this one. Please close the window before you leave. Here you have a better example. I suggest you take a break and relax for a bit. Here is not an imperative form. An imperative form would be something like this. Take a break and relax for a bit. But in this case, when you say, I suggest you take a break and relax for a bit, then in this case, you're using directive form, and not an imperative one. Another example of a directive sentence would be this one. Could you please, uh, could you please pass me the salt? Or could you pass me the salt, please? So if it were a directive form, an imperative form, then you would have to say, pass me the salt, please. In that case, it would be imperative. But if you want to use a directive way, you can use a modal verb like could. Could is a modal verb. So you say, could you pass me the salt, please? And so on and so forth. You have this one. It would be a good idea to double check your word before submitting it. So here it's a kind of suggestion, right? And you're using again another modal verb like would. It would be a good idea to do this and that. Another form would be let's meet at 9 sharp tomorrow for the presentation. So here it's another instruction that a person is making, but that it is not using an imperative form, but a directive one. And then you have, I recommend that you consult with your supervisor before making any major decisions. Why don't you try asking for help if you are feeling overwhelmed? So as you can see here, you have 9 ways of expressing directive sentences, directive orders, and not in this case you are not using an imperative form, which is the most one is the most common. Okay. Well, that's all for today for this class, and this marks the end of this presentation. So your time and attention are greatly appreciated. And for more information about this topic, please contact me at, this is my phone number. I have told you that plenty of times, and this is my email address. If you have any questions about this topic or any doubt you would like to know, do not hesitate, please, to write at this phone number through WhatsApp and or write if you want an email. Well, that's all for today. Have a nice night. A good night.